The wisest and most sentient and most focused people who are paying attention to what is happening in Israel and Palestine, those individuals who know and who claim to know, and by the way, who are the most interested in what is going on, have exhibited time after time some of the most incredibly obtuse, I'm sorry to say this, some of the most incredibly obtuse examples of critical thinking that I've ever seen. And it's something that absolutely just blows my mind. When you talk about this, the other day we were doing a subject of this discussion, and people were saying that if you could somehow get rid of Islam, that would be the answer to this. They were actually saying that this was a religious war, that it was about Judaism and Islam. And then others were saying, well, if we got rid of, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, what do you think this is? That this was some kind of a evil or, and someone said, and if only they knew Christianity. Let me remind you that during the Troubles in Ireland, North and South were both Christians, but yet people don't understand that. They don't grasp it. And it's very difficult for people to understand it because this is a war, in essence, that is going on now, that is purely about land and preference and undoing history to an extent. And the particular insights that you have as to what happened to Balfour Declaration or what happened in 1967 or 73, or it's as though people are saying, I don't know how to analyze this, but I do know something that happened before. I do know something. I can bring something up. I can reference some type of connection that we've had. I guess. I'm not even sure. It's incredible to me. And it's not I don't say it to be malicious. I say it to bring to people a focus as to what is happening as we speak and how the world is changing drastically. So if that's what you like to do, if that's where you want to go, if that's what you find interesting, good. Please let me remind you, we need your likes, we need your subscriptions, we need you to love us and to follow us because, of course, metrics are important. The more you like something, the more YouTube sends it out to other people to sample. And that's what we're trying to do. Now, as most people are still trying perhaps to adjust from their postprandial engorgement after Thanksgiving, let us think about what would happen if one day there was a tremendous interruption in the ability to buy, purchase, own, and possess food. Well, I've got the answer. Patriot, the world at every level and facet is in peril. Everything has changed. The Great Reset is here. Just look around you. You must become more self-reliant and sufficient and secure the future for your family. Act today with My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the country's largest preparedness company, and it's more than equipped to stock your shelf. Their best-selling 3-month emergency food kit provides delicious breakfast, lunches, and dinners that last up to 25 years in storage. And right now, listen carefully, it's $200 off. That's right. Get over 2,000 calories every day. Just add water and heat, then eat. Make sure every member of your family has a 3-month food kit from My Patriot Supply. Go right now to my special website at preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com for $200 in savings. Be sure to order by 3 p.m. for free same-day shipping. It's best to have emergency food and not need it than to need it and not have it. Take $200 off right now at preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. Write this down, commit it to memory, preparewithlionel.com. You hear me talk about critical thinking so much. Critical thinking is necessary. Critical thinking is how you approach a situation and approach a problem and approach what it really means. Before I forget, Let me make sure that everyone immediately watch a video yesterday that Mrs. L did, which was so important. Where one of her warriors, one of her colleagues named Josh Akins, he's a politician out of New Jersey who has been fighting feverishly and indefatigably to protect our children, especially when it comes to schools. There is the link. Please also follow Mrs. L. Let me put this down. Yes, you're right. But this one you got to watch because I've got to tell you something. This is a story that is still somehow it's been kind of pushed aside by virtue of what's going on. Because as you know, in America, we can only think of one subject at a time. But let me try to tell you this. And let me thank you, by the way. Her work is superb. And please follow her, subscribe to her. And make sure you support her because we need this. Now listen carefully to what I'm saying. I desperately need coffee, my caffeine intake today. If in the middle of World War II, if at the time of Barbarossa, if at the time of Normandy, if at the time of, the Bulge and the Ardennes and, name it, any American who would be weighing into discussions about arcana, recondite references to how perhaps maybe Hitler might have been rebuffed, refused respect by the Jewish art community. Or maybe if somebody would lament about the Treaty of Versailles and that this was the reason for this. And if Germany had not been humiliated post-World War, most people would say, what are you saying? What in the name of God are you talking about? And the answer would be somebody would say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm merely trying to say something. Because all over the place, and I think you're the best audience I've ever seen, but I'm listening to people from Ben Shapiro to Mearsheimer to Colonel McGregor to name it, name the people. I am looking for what is happening specifically now. Mearsheimer does it, by the way. He says, here's what's happening now. Not, here's what happened in 1973. Here's what happened in whatever. I've never seen anything like it. What is the purpose of this? I don't know. Why are people talking about the history? If both of these people were atheists, if they believed in nothing, and you'll see this, you will see when we fought the Viet Cong, they were, in essence, they were sort of Buddhist, but they were communists. And what were the atheists? Well, the Communist Manifesto. I mean, all of this made no sense. People will try to use this namby-pamby Fox News. If we believe in Jesus and goodness, it's like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's nice. Has no role here. Well, you see, I don't understand what I'm saying. I'm talking about the good versus evil. And then you have people who say, listen, if you want to work on Fox News, you better understand something very, very simply. We are 100% behind Israel. Do not question anything Israel does. Do not do it. Do not question Israel. Do not question. This man I would have on my board. This is Sparky. Good morning, good sir. Some of the best commentary ever. Some of the best commentary, and I thank you, sir. I've never seen anything like it. I have a friend of mine the other day who was talking about, he had a cardiac matter. And what I want to do is, what does the doctor say? What is the treatment ahead? What is your prognosis? What about now? What are you doing now? She wanted to talk about, I wonder where I got this from. Could this be from, could it be congenital? Could it have been lifestyle? I said, what difference does it make? I sound like Hillary. What difference does it make? What are you going to do? You see how critical thinking affects the way you adopt, you approach something? Do you see how critical thinking is critical? I don't care where things come from. It doesn't matter. I don't care where things come from. That's the part which is the most interesting. That is the most important thing for me to explain. I don't care where things come from. Now, let me explain this, and this is the biggest problem. America simply has not the foggiest clue how to fix Israel and Palestine. Have you heard? Did you hear? Have you heard Vladimir Putin say repeatedly what would happen if he ever gets to the point where he believes he faces an existential threat? Have you heard this? Did you hear what he has had to say? Did you hear this? Did you hear it? Are you aware of it? Are you following this? Are you aware of what he said? Tell me you heard this. Vladimir, as they say, Putin said the following: we have weapons of immense, incredible, devastating power. If you push us, if you dare use the full power, the faith, the hope, the power, the arsenal of the American military system against us, we will be more than happy to use our weapons against you. And they are incomprehensible. What does that mean? Nukes. It's that simple. And they said, oh, he's threatening. He's not threatening anything. A threat is when I come up to you and I'm not even challenging you to something that is even within the context. If somebody comes up to me and wants to rob me, and if I say, if you don't stop that, I'm going to do something, it's not a threat. That's a retaliation. See, because this is current. This is current. This is current. I can't say this enough. This is what is current. And what is most important, my dear friends, and what I want you to understand and grasp and get and understand is very simply that we live in a world where we have to understand what people want and why they want it. Next, I want you to understand something also. Please explain to me and tell me you understand the collective psychological mindset of Jewish people, of Israeli people, of Jews in this country, Jews there, what Palestinians feel, what is their history, their anger, what is their mindset? I ask you, what do you think is their mindset? What is their purpose? What is their focus? What is their history? How do they think? You have to understand this. You have to understand why people are fighting, what is at stake, and take into account what happens to the rest of the world. We had last night again at Columbus Circle. People used to call it the Time Warner, but now it's the shops at Columbus Circle. Very nice. Whole Foods is there. It's very nice. One of our dear friends who watches works at one of the premier anchor stores, and these people came in with stickers, and there are these two big posters, these two nudes. Everybody loves. You can see there's a male and a female, and then the penis, you could tell where it's been where the patina has been rubbed off by people touching it. Stickers placed everywhere. They went to the Museum of Natural History, whatever. They want to destroy. These are organized shock troops designed to make people aware of this. What is their motivation? I would suggest, as our good friend Sparky said the other day, and we're seeing more and more evidence of it, that there are orchestrated and collective moves to pay people, in many instances, to show up. This is not a part of some spontaneous anti-Israel or pro-Palestinian movement. Sparky says, knowing the history helps stave off a rash of anti-Semitism because people will learn anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are two different things, despite what your girl Nikki Haley says. Oh, I agree. How would you we are beyond this later on. Okay. Now, Zionism is a very interesting concept. What is the difference between anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism? Or Zionism and Semitism? What is the answer? It's very important that you rent this. Rent a mob, indeed. What is the difference? Tell me. What do you think? What do, my friends, what do you think? What is the difference? You will hear these terms repeated on a regular basis. You will hear folks talk about this. Zionism, anti-Zionism. Now, Nikki Haley, and I believe whoever it was who said that Nikki Haley was basically, she is pulling for her position on boards and within the using the particular nomenclature of the right. But what is the difference between this? What is the important? Zionism is nationalism. To an extent, we're getting close. I think that's important. Always look, do what I do. Let's see what the definition is. In Zionism is a movement for originally the reestablishment and the development and protection of a Jewish nation, what is now Israel. It was established in a political organization in 1897 under Theodore Herzl. It was later led by Chaim Weizmann. The development and protection of a Jewish nation that has a Jewish nation. Anti-Semitism, because remember the two was one is Zionism is a positive reference. Anti-Semitism is not. Anti-Semitism is defined as, and this is interesting, hostility to or prejudice against Jewish people. I would go a little bit more and you can read the working definition of anti-Semitism as a certain perception of Jews, which may be expressed as a hatred towards Jews. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals. I think it's one of those, to use that term, to use the Potter Stewart reference in Geopolitical. I know it when I see it, so to speak. I hear it. I heard one the other day. It was so interesting. I heard it one time where, and I found this to be most interesting. And by the way, all thought is protected speech, even if it's hateful. Sparky says, recent events have made a half of previously apathetic American Jews anti-Zionist. Perhaps and I still, Sparky, I don't think they really know what that means. Anyway, thanks, my friend. Thank you. I thank you. I heard something the other day. I have a kind of sort of a friend of a friend. One day, young gal was talking, and I don't know what the subject was, and she said something like, "Yeah, well, something like, yeah, well, those Jews." And I swear to God, it was the weirdest thing I have ever heard. A phrase, a tone. I thought, wow. And there was something there. Now, again, protected speech. He was a citizen, big deal. I'm sure there are many, there have to be Jews who are anti-goyim or anti whatever it is. I got it. But I heard it, and it was the weirdest thing. Our good friend Raul says, "Do you think there will be a food delivery interruption in New York City?" Not really. If there was, that might get people's attention because, as you know, food delivery in New York City is talk about a gig economy. That's it. And I thank you for that. I have a friend of mine who one time, years ago, he was the most racist person I've ever met. And to listen to him, you would never pick up on it. He was the nicest person when it came to black folks. He just considered them to be childish and silly and subject to laughing and mockery. Though you could see, he never took them seriously. I mean, everybody, everything they did was like, oh, that's racist. It doesn't manifest itself in anything positive. It doesn't, I tend to, and now let me explain something. There is something different. The closest thing, well, let me rephrase this. Again, I'm rephrasing. When you notice a truth about a group of people versus an across the board unwarranted type of dismissal, that's a different story. I have the closest thing that I have, I truly believe, is I might be an ageist because I have run into so many people who are of certain ages who do not seem to care or to be able to focus or I don't know what the word is. I said I don't want to be into this thing where I'm superior, but I'm seeing too many trends. There is a type of, and it used to be, this is my personal thing. When I see a woman, because I don't see it in men, maybe elsewhere, but when I see a woman whose total and complete and identifiable focus is on appearance and looks and being, quote, hot, I want to scream. Now, that is not against women. That is a type of woman. I don't have a problem with young people. It's a type of young people. See, that's different. There's a difference between a fetish and a preference. There's a weird kind of a thing. There are folks I know who despise Jews. They don't do anything. They don't burn anything down. There's no violence. That is a form of anti-Semitism that I think we're talking about. Zionism, there are people who say, I do not believe in the preordained or a post-jurisdictional accumulation of land mass for a particular people, whether it be because Jews for Judaism or because of some African, well, that doesn't make any sense. Some African American or Negroes, we used to call it, some kind of some French. See, everything else, French people colonize. This one colonizes the national state of France. Well, yeah, but that's not. Would you have something for the Baptists or the right-handed people versus left-handed? I don't know. There has not been anything deliberately that most people don't define, constructed. So they may have a problem with Israel. They may have a problem with the fact that Israel, or they could say, I've got no problem with Israel. I have a problem with anybody who removes either similarly indigenous people or other, you can argue. Nobody during the Troubles in Ireland told the Northern Irish in Belfast, I want you to get out. This is ours. Their position was, we want the England out of this. It's you've got to define this. But once we define it, that doesn't help us in what is going to happen now. Why weren't American hostages released? What is the point of this? Where is this going? How does this settle out? Sparky says it's important to get the word out that some of the most fervent pro-Palestinians are Jews, even in the middle of Israel. History helps explain it. There are indeed that way. That's very important. However, Sparky, here's my thing. I am not interested as much in the etiology, the teleology, the genesis, the cause of this, as I am what is happening now to end this war and these battles, and how to keep it from spilling over. Let me say this again. I'm interested in the immediate. Afterwards, I would love to discuss. I told you there were two wonderful sources of how do I say this? Let me see. Let me see if I can say this here. Hang on. Okay. This is a very good thing, and I appreciate it, and I think it's great. But my dear friend, I just want you to understand my focus on this. I don't care. I don't care. There's something very, very scary that's going on right now. You know what happens when you make people, when people, you know what happens when there are people who are very, 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 when there are people who are very, very upset over what appears to be something that's happening immediately. Number one, Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi is like a rat, and I shouldn't say that, like an animal captured. His career, his legacy, he has been prime minister forever, it seems like. He is feeling the pressure of what appears to be nothing more than just this increased demands for removal. He had his own problems. He was this close to making deals, as you know, with Saudi Arabia and others, and now he has been relegated to this. That is absolutely important, critical. Okay. Next, there is a move to see who is going to be the leader, who is going to bring us, make us aware of the new world, the new reset. Is it going to be MBS? Is it going to be Iran? What deals are being made that Biden and others are not even a part of? That's going on right this moment. When you see a deal, when you see hostage exchange or release, a big deal was made. What was the deal? Are you aware of it? Are you going to hear of it? That's what I want to know. Sparky says, you had a video the other day about rising anti-Semitism, like Barney Fife. I'm trying to nip it in the bud, but don't let it fester. Not now. We're not interested in this right now. We'll get to that. It's my only beef. It's not really a beef. Listen to Peter Hayes, Robert Wiener, great sources. But we will get to this after. Your attempts to nip anti-Semitism in the bud will be for naught if this is not taken care of immediately. Listen to what I'm saying. It is that simple, my friends. It is that simple. Now listen, let's stop for 1 second. Let me explain to you something which is very, very important. During these perilous times, we must focus on something even more perilous. That is the nature, I should say, of the economy and what you need to become and to maintain safety during these trying times. Dark clouds are gathering as markets shudder. Stocks are sinking, currency stumbling, fear and uncertainty reign. The Middle East, Ukraine, Taiwan, the debt, it's endless. Yet one asset stands firm: gold. In crisis after crisis, gold is there in the background. Its enduring value guards against loss, like a missile shield against incoming. While paper wealth burns, gold persists. Shield your savings against looming threats: war, recession, contagion, and avoid the frenzied panic of the unprepared. Take control in the chaos. Fortune favors decisive action. Get hold of gold now before it's out of reach. And right now, Noble Gold Investments offers a free 5-ounce America the Beautiful coin with every new IRA. Claim your free coin today to secure your financial future. As this new storm gathers, panic looms. And some of the places you were thinking of for your money, well, they don't look so clever anymore. Secure your future against disaster now. Open a Noble Gold Investments IRA and claim your free bullion coin today. Go to LionelNationGold.com. That's LionelNationGold.com. LionelNationGold.com, the only gold company I trust. And remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind. Indeed, my friends, indeed. Now, I believe in something called habituation. Habituation, conditioning, and the like. And these are things that we have to make people aware of. Very, very important. Our good friend Sparky says, sure, Netanyahu, who is on his way out, but he will not do much damage in the meantime. Oh, he will do damage. Yes, yes, yes. That's finally, yes, we're talking about now. Yes, he could very well do this. He might also feel, Sparky, in the position where he says, you know what, we're going to go, where it's time to let people know who we are. I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. Now, folks, as I told you, we talked about last night, in the event that Israel ever feels like we are at the end, and we have to go out in a blaze of glory, you know and I know what that means. You know and I know what that means, and it's beyond even the realm of imagination. If they feel as though they are up against the wall and that their existence depends on showing the world something, you know and I know what that may mean. And if that happens, all bets are off. There have been people, my friends, we have within our own world of wonderful and moderate Christians who love each other and follow the word of Jesus. They're just wonderful people. There are folks who actually and actively believe in more of an existential end to times, where they believe in the end of times, an eschatological kind of an Armageddon, this is the way it's supposed to be type of thing. Does that make any sense to you? There are people who believe that we have been waiting our entire life. This is biblical prophecy. We are going to rise. There's going to be Armageddon. We're going to be reunited. But I don't know. I'm not a biblical scholar, but I'm sure you've heard the doctrine. And there are other people who are pushing it, who would not mind that happening. Please be aware of that. If you think there is some outer rim sect, you're out of your mind. Someone writes, free Palestine. Good. How does this work? That's what I'm going to talk about. You want to free Palestine? What do you want to do? Let's talk about that. What's happening? I want to talk about this thing right now. This is I see people say, you're losing me. I don't understand this. That's my point. This is insoluble. How do you free Palestine? No slogans today. No sloganeering, no shibboleths. How do you free Palestine? How do you do it? How do you do it? How is it going to do it? How? Okay. How do you think so? Someone writes, as a Christian, I think Revelation is mostly about the Jewish war. Doesn't matter what you think. Have you ever heard what Jerry Falwell and others are saying? Do you know what this is from the days of even when this kind of a post-moral majority? See, this is the part. Well, I don't think that. I don't think. Who cares about you? Well, I don't think that that's not what it is. It doesn't matter. This goes to show, and I mean this, and I want people to read this. This goes to show you this understandable cluelessness as to what's happening. Sparky says, once a crisis is over, attention will quickly wane, leaving few to learn the difference between anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism. After the crisis is over, do you think the crisis is going to be over? Do you think that's a very good point? Do you think this crisis is over? Do you? Are you kidding me? Do you think because Hamas is not shelling anybody or because people have not been taken hostage, do you think this crisis is ever going to be over? Do you really think so? Does anybody think that? Are you out of your mind? Free Assange? Okay. I'm for that as well. We've been through that a million times. Why? Because he's a journalist. Let me get this straight. Do you think this is ever going to be over with? No. I don't think anybody really gets it. They're not moving. They're not moving. And if you tell Israel, listen, you better understand something. You better back off. And they say, excuse me, we are not going to subject ourselves to opening ourselves for increased vulnerability by allowing our enemies to pose direct and threats towards us. We are not going to do this. It's not going to happen. We are not going to do this. Does that make any sense? Is that clear? Is that clear? We are not going to do that. So don't think for a moment that's going to happen. Well, Hamas, what are you going to do? We live in an apartheid. This is the largest open air, prison, and we're not going to do that. And how dare you? And it's their land, and this is protection. And you got out, and there's okay. Right, now what are you going to do? Crisis abated? Absolutely not. And we will never understand. Never. And by the way, remember, do you think anything's going to be fixed before the elections? This is classic Iran. They're trying to figure out, make sure that whatever we do, if there's anything that looks remotely like a victory, it's done before the elections, depending upon whom we want to benefit. Let me ask you something. If you were Israel, who would you want to be president? First question, everybody answer. If you're Israel, if you're Bibi, who would you want the U.S. president to be in 2024? Answer my question. Who? Who would you think so? I'll wait. You're Bibi Netanyahu. What president, out of anybody running or not, would be the most beneficial to you? Hillbilly says Trump, 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 Trump. Come on. Trump. Hillary. You cannot be serious. Trump. Absolutely. There's no doubt about this. There is no doubt about this. Now, here's the question. Somebody says RFK. RFK is all over the place. RFK has absolutely not. No. RFK has no interest in this. RFK is with the wind on this one. He doesn't know. RFK is wondering, did I win yet? Do they love me yet? Yes, Bobby. They love you. Okay. Sparky says, I mean the real incident. When I said crisis, causing you to miss the point. Sorry about that. No. I know what you mean, and thank you for that. Here's my question. Now, who do you think would be best for Palestine? Who would be the best? Now, think about this. Who would be the best for Palestine? Who's running? I think Ilan Omar might be the best, or Rashida Tlaib. I don't think she's running. Who would be the best candidate that Palestine and this particular neck of the woods would want? Who? Who do you think would be going? Who? Based upon what you've heard. Somebody running. Not Obama. Who? Who do you think? Who do you think? See, these exercises are critical to ground you into what's happening right now, because you have to understand what is happening regarding our particular world. Who would be the best for them? Who? Okay, Biden. Have you heard what Biden has to say? Have you heard what Biden has to say? Have you heard his? He and Blinken. Anybody? Oh, Dick Dickerson, new member. Thank you, Dick. All the best, Dick. Dick. It's a 3-speed Dick. Thank you, Dick. Who do you think? Think about this. This is important. Don't know about you who, but Israel would want Trump. Yeah. But who also would be? Let me ask you something. If I am somebody and I am, I don't know, Abu Mazen, or I don't know, Iran. No, Iran is not going to do. Iran is a different kettle of fish. A different kettle of fish. Big time. But here's my question. Here's what I would want. I want somebody I can understand who gives me a straight story. You understand this? I want somebody, if I'm MBS, by the way, you know who's really close with MBS? Putin. Xi Jinping. You know who would be best? Trump. Why? Trump understands the way things look. Trump understands the way things look, and Trump understands the reality of what's going on. Trump understands. Trump, if you sat down with Trump and said, okay, listen, understand what's going on here. Do you understand Israel? I mean, Iran? Yes, I understand. Okay. You understand what Hezbollah is? Yes. You understand their beef? I understand it. And by the way, you know, they're not too crazy about you in killing Casey Kasem Salami, whatever his name is, the guy. They don't care for that. I know. But you know what? That's, believe it or not, there is when it comes to killing people, this will probably blow your mind. The amount of understanding. Hey, you chopped up Khashoggi. Well, that's all right. You killed whatever. Oh, okay. They speak about it almost like the way the mob does. Well, you did it. Well, that's the way it goes. Okay, whatever. You want somebody who is able to understand what is happening. First and foremost, this is what everybody wants. Work backwards. What do people want? They want there to be freedom. And they want there to be no more fighting and death and children and that sort of thing. You got it? Got it. That's the thing people want. They want that. They want more than anything else for there to be a rational form of thinking, a rational form of belief, a rational form of living. They want you. They want you. Very, very, very simply. Now, how do we do this? Number one, somebody's got to sit down and say, we got to make a deal. Hamas, if you want Gaza to feel the strictures of control removed, you have to do something very important. You have to lay off with the underground tunnels. You have to understand. You have got to do this. No more shooting, no more firing, no more. You have got to do it. We are not going to go anywhere unless you agree with this. You understand? You understand? Point number one. Guys, I'm working on you. Everybody get this? MBS, do you get this? Yeah. Abdullah and Jordan, you got this? Yeah. Everybody got it, Cutter? Everybody gets this. And then Hamas says, wait a minute, we spend a fortune. I know you spend a fortune. Gaza is like Disney. Have you ever been to Disney World? Disney World is nothing but a false background. It's behind the scenes, the underground, the factories. You push this wall and it moves, and that's all that Disney World is, to be able to move things to get supplies. You don't see things trucked around. When you go to Disney World, you don't see like big. It's just done at night and underneath. That's what Gaza is. How do you sit there and say, I want you to just stop that? Israel is going to say, you're going to either have to agree to a ceasefire or stop this or whatever it is. Is that going to happen? That's rule number one. Barry Taylor says, read Chris Hedges' book, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning. Not sure what to think. What, honey? Chris Hedges? Okay. He's good. He has an interesting perspective. I know him very well. Sometimes he and I agree on a lot of things. Again, I don't know in terms of, dare I say, I don't want to keep saying realism. That's a different story. Sparky says, most countries in the world and their people want Trump, EU, and the globalists, not so much. Yeah, sort of. Most people, when you say people, you mean voters? See, I'm always into the definitional part of this. I'm always into the Are you sure about that? I don't know. The biggest phony baloney is this melee that everybody loves. He wants to sell. Let me tell you something. Listen to him very, very carefully. He might be a World Economic Forum guy. He might be a Klaus Schwab guy. He wants to change the rules and loosen the rules regarding organ sales and procurement. A lot of people who are at end of life say, you know what? I might be able to sell. Why can't I sell my organs? It's very, very libertarian. I'm thinking, well, I may have a point there. Maybe have a point. But he is not what you think. Okay? But let's go down to this, how this thing works. What does Israel want? Stop bombing. We are not going to let up on Gaza or anything. Now, let me explain what's going on. Stop for a second. What Sparky may understand and what others may understand is simply this. They may do this. They may recognize the fact that there are folks there who, how do I say this, who believe that there are factions in Israel who know exactly what they're doing, and that this is being done not out of self-defense, but with the addition of settlements and others. It's to squeeze them because they want to get these Palestinians out. Go to Egypt, go to Jordan, go anywhere else. Just get out. If you don't like it, get out. Beat it. Go to Egypt, okay? Now, that's not the official position, but you know and I know that particular faction is there. So there may be some folks in Israel, some in not citizens, maybe a few, but in terms of government, I always talk about government when I talk about never the citizens, who might be saying this is a crucial strategy to getting them out by making their life miserable. Sparky says, how about the new guy in Argentina? I just said this, kind of a caricature of Trump. He may be legit. Netherlands got one too. Never, ever, ever, Sparky, believe for a moment. Never, ever believe in the government telling you what Trump is. There is not a Trump. Let me stop for 1 second. Stop for 1 second. Because you're bringing up a good point. Do you think Trump is still Trump? Do you think the Trump now is the Trump in 2016? Do you, honey? Do you think if he came in right now, after what he's been through, what he's learned, what he's seen, the reality that came caving in on him, do you think that he is the Trump that we knew in 2016? Do you or is he a supercharged Trump? Does he understand how things work? You understand this? Disney World has Hamas-style tunnels. Coincidence? Oh, Sparky, you're a man after my own heart. I love this. Interesting. Disney. Satanic. What do you think Trump is? Trump is a caricature of what Trump sort of maybe is. Listen, I'll take him. I'll take him in many respects, but he is so that exuberance, that wistful kind of a glorious, open-minded, exuberant man of the future. I think that is absolutely I don't know the word. That kind of an open-mindedness. First of all, Jared Kushner can be nowhere near him. You will never be able to. No, nobody's going to talk to him with Jared Kushner. They knew it before. Believe me, they knew it before. But I think there is a really pissed off, angry Trump. Angry. And this is something to be very afraid of. You don't want to be in a position where Trump figures, I'm going to make a name for myself, and I'm going to go down fighting. And you're going to learn what you did to me, and I'm going to show you. Oh, you think I was bad before? He's back. And I'm pissed off. And he's more prone now. See, a lot of his stuff was unforced errors. And he honestly did not really understand how things work because he didn't have a Jim Baker. He did not have a Jim Baker, and he didn't have somebody telling him, no, you can't do this. He didn't have anybody helping him negotiate the White House or negotiate any of this stuff. That's the part which is the most important. Let me also tell you something again, and this means a lot to me. Please, this is a brand new Mrs. L video. And I just cannot say it enough. I want you to hear, remember, do not lose track of the domestic because of this. This is important. Okay. This is important. But this is a brand new video of hers. Please not only sign up for her channel, but watch this one in particular. It just goes to show you what's going on at the local level to find out the war on children is still, it's doubling down and even getting worse. I'll still take Trump. I know people think. I had a friend of mine the other day. This guy is so smart, and his hatred of Trump is so great. He thinks Trump is mentally ill. I say he's not mentally ill. You don't understand this. We always think everybody's crazy. This is what Stalin used to do. Everybody's crazy. No, he's not mentally ill. Sometimes when you want to hear how things are best done, sometimes there's a shock treatment. Somebody years ago used to say, the best way to break a fever is get a nice ice bath, fill it with ice, and throw his ass in there. And this guy's screaming and yelling, oh my God, I'm screaming. He goes, yes, but you know what? It goes down. The fever abates as opposed to Beach, which is in New Haven. I told you about fecal transplantation. It sounds, oh my God, it's the most effective thing in the world. Sometimes brutal things have to be done. Ask yourself, what do you want to do? You want to stop? What do you want to do? I want to bring peace. Why do you care about peace? What do you think is the way to get to peace? Sparky says the Italian Prime Minister, Irish lass, Giorgia Meloni, seemed like Trump when she ran for office, but quickly went globalist after a visit to Brussels. Well, listen, it goes to show you again, don't make Trump sound too unique, but once you get in there, you realize, oh, okay. See, one of the reasons why you want somebody who's older, I know this is weird. You want somebody who says, I can't be compromised. I'm not long for the Trump's 77, 78? How much longer does he have? 10, 15, 20 years? You get somebody in there like Like Gavin Newsom, that's the guy you got to worry about because he's looking long term. You want somebody who can say, "Look, I've been there, I've done this." Age has a wonderful aspect to this. But let me go back to what's going on. To be brutal, Israel knows what everybody thinks. They know what Israel. Nobody is without knowledge. Nobody says, "Really? Is that what they want?" They know exactly. They have been doing nothing but this. In 1948, when somebody says, "Yeah, I got a good idea. Let's put Israel right here," it began nothing but known disaster. But they never knew it would be this bad. They knew it would be bad, but not like this. And you're not going to go back. Israel's not leaving. Palestine is, quote, not leaving. We also have to get this out of the way of the UN. We have to get these people out of there. Who trusts the UN? The UN has no effect, no nothing, no meaning. It comes down to this. It's all going to be behind the scenes, and it's going to be done by a bunch of people who know what's going on. And MBS is still the most critical person in the world. And also, I can see Xi Jinping. I imagine this. You have a big meeting. MBS, Qatar, Iran. And by the way, don't kid yourself. They make Iran out to be, they're all crazy and they're theocratic. Okay. Because whenever they tell you that, that means it's wrong. Yet everybody there, everybody. And they say, "Hey, folks, I got an idea. Let's make our friend Vladimir Putin the big hero here. That will frost the West like you cannot believe. He's the hero." Imagine it. Imagine if you're Victoria Nuland. Imagine if you're these NATO ghouls. If you're the EU, say, "What?" And they say, "We're going to turn it over to Brother Vlad." And he says, "This is what we're going to do. I'm going to call a meeting. I'm neutral, detached, and I'm going to bring peace to this matter." And they say, "Well, what about your peace?" And then Vladimir Putin says, "I told you the peace when I told you, do not threaten us with Ukraine going NATO. You did this in Bucharest. You did this. You asked for this. You wanted this." Do you know what that would do? He's the hero? I mean, nobody's even suggesting that. But that's how stuff gets done. And you're going to have to make a deal with Bibi, and you're going to have to make a deal with everybody else. And Bibi's going to have to realize, or Israel, this is a new world. Can you count on the U.S. anymore? What are you counting on them for? For what? Look at the people in the streets. Do you think any politician from now on is going to risk this? They told you flat out, if you go full tilt Israel, this is what you're going to do. Last night at, I didn't see anything about that at Columbus Circle. I haven't been seeing much.
And the local news reporter said there was a minor protest. They stormed it. I saw a video of it. They stormed all 3 tiers and hung Palestinian.
Did they tiers of
the shops?
The shops. What about the museum? Weren't they trying to get into?
The police barricaded.
Right.
Surrounded it completely. Nobody covered that.
This is the most amazing thing in the world. Right. The local news media is so corrupt. And by the way, I stand behind Elon Musk 100%. They are the most worthless people in the world. But let me ask you something. You think I'm going to tell Bibi, do you think Gavin Newsom is going to lift a finger? They're going to distance with apartheid, with young people, with this? No way. So you better understand something. If you're going to get something done, it's not going to be through conventional means. And if you want to look for the history or the future of Israel, you got to go beyond the usual realms. That's what we're talking about right now. This is huge stuff. Sparky says New York cities are supposed to be streetwise, but Trump was country come to town when he hit D.C. D.C. played him for a fool. Hopefully Trump's learned and will keep Pompeo, Bolton, Haspel, and the like out. Absolutely. Could not Sparky, this is the best thing for you. My people, if I ran, I would have people you wouldn't even know their names, because I want people who aren't going on to something else. It's very, very simple. Israel, here's what you want. Palestine, here's what you're going to do. Hamas, you're going to go someplace else. Hamas, fine. And don't worry, you can keep the money. Hamas is like BLM. BLM is just, it's like we see it in New York. You have a restaurant that goes out of business, same company comes back up again, different name. It's the same business. It's the same everything. Same menu, same this, same people. It's just different name. That's what Hamas is. Get rid of Hamas. Okay, fine. Call it something else. Call it Sama, which is backwards. Whatever you want to call it. But this militant wing is not going anywhere. Absolutely not. And that's the bottom line. And that means Israel, you're going to have to back off. They keep saying that what you are doing is nothing but apartheid. You're going to have to deal with this. Okay, it's a deal. But no more intifada. No more bus bombs. No more. No. Okay, is it a deal? Is it a deal? Okay, who gets the credit? Let's make Putin the deal breaker. Can you imagine what that would look like? That's the way things are done. Not, let's have a meeting, let's go to the UN. Something's going to happen. And believe me when I tell you this, Palestine knows this. Palestinian Authority, PA and others, Gaza, Hamas, they know how this thing, they know there's not going to be, you're not going to, I mean, we can talk about East Jerusalem and this, and yeah. But we're not going to, nobody's going to be leaving anything. Hang on. Fox says Sama is like AI. It could be anywhere at any time. It may, yes, and it can be kind of programmed as such. You need a name of something. Remember, nothing's going away. Nothing's going away. Do you follow any of these organized crime shows on platforms? Do you ever do that? These organized crime? Sammy the Bull and this one and that one, and who's if I hear one more story about Roy DeMeo or Jimmy the Gent Burke, but the thing to remember is the government never got rid of the mob, never got rid of the mafia, never got rid of them, and they don't want to get rid of them because they represent a very, very critical part of our world. They don't want to do anything to get rid of them because, like an old wise guy once said, they want to put their blood in our veins. They want to keep the structure there, but they want to kill necessarily the organization, but they want to keep the networks. That's why the government doesn't get rid of motorcycle gangs. That's why prison gangs are so important. You don't think they could make prison safe? Stop it. Of course they could. Look at Mr. Chauvin. Okay? Look at him in that. My friends, what a story. We've been on for an hour and 2 minutes today. Thank you so much. You are terrific. I don't even know how to say this. Silver Fox, thank you. Sparky, you are without peer, my friend. You make us think. You give us perspective. Barry Taylor, thank you. Dick Dickerson, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Dick's a new member of the team. We thank you for that. And we see Raul Rodriguez, thank you. And CJ Lars, I believe. Thank you for that, and thank you for your perspective and your ideas. By the way, I forgot. There's one more great group of people I want to bring up, and you know who they are. Let me tell you about my great friends at mypillow.com. Mypillow.com. And by the way, use promo code Lionel. Use promo code Lionel and receive a free gift. No purchase necessary. And yes, I realize that gifts are free. It's a tautology. Get over it. Sue me. So what are we talking about? How about Giza Dream bed sheets? My Pillow 2.0 sheets, slippers, percales, towels, quilts, bedspreads, mattresses, mattress covers, mattress toppers, linens, kitchen towels, bathrobes, name it. Items to luxuriate and relax. And don't forget, Christmas is just around the corner. And yes, it makes a great stocking stuffer, and it's fine for dad or grad. Made by the greatest company from the greatest people in the greatest country. Or call 800-645-4965 if you're OG, and see how quickly Mike Lindell answers the phone. 800-645-4965. But don't forget, only use promo code Lionel. That's mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. Mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel. All right, dear friends, thank you so very much. Oh, one thing, by the way, Sparky adds one little bit, but he says yellow vests in France had huge protests for well over a year, but there was little or no media coverage. Remember also, Sparky, when we had the truck, remember the trucks converge? What was that about? I don't know. Remember the truck? There were these truckers that were coming. Remember that? They come from through Jersey and this and that. Nothing. The first thing we need to do, remember Henry the Fourth, whatever, was kill all the lawyers. The first thing we have to do is to destroy mainstream media, heritage, legacy media. And the good news is they're doing it themselves. All right, my friends, thank you. One more time, please. This is Mrs. L's video. Watch this. Make sure you subscribe to her at Lynn's Warriors. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you immensely. Have a great and a glorious day, dear friends. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. We thank you for your focus. We thank you for your courage, and we thank you for who you are. Have a great and a glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. as usual. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. See ya. Da, da.